What's up guys, this is Juan from Inerize, and in this video I'm gonna be talking about how to be productive by finding your purpose first. The new slogan in business and life in general is productivity. Everyone is trying to figure out a way in which they can make $1 million fast, lose 20 pounds of weight in a week, finish college quickly so they can start making money, and so on. Everything that seems to matter nowadays is results, results, results. Western culture is a result-driven culture, which is of course responsible for many of the technological advances that are present in our daily lives, from cell phones to cars. But at the same time is one of the main reasons why we are witnessing such a level of personal desperation and confusion. If we start observing the life of most people and businesses carefully, we will soon realize that they are not very different from a chicken running around with its head cut off. There's no apparent intention to our actions, since most of them are fueled by goals that we are not even aware of. Purpose is the reason for which something is done or created. It is the why of the thing, action, or person. Productivity, on the other hand, measures the effectiveness of the productive effort or the degree to which an action fulfilled its objective. Notice, though, that when describing productivity, it doesn't matter if the action itself contributes to the final objective. What matters is if the activity was conducted effectively. Let's see an example. 4 people find themselves lost in the middle of the Amazonian jungle. Thankfully, they're in possession of 4 big machetes, so they decide to cut all the weed and trees that appear in front of them to keep walking. Having been doing this for days, they discover the perfect machete technique to cut the trees most effectively and efficiently. Nonetheless, they're still trapped in the jungle and don't know if they are any closer to finding an escape route. Finally, the most intelligent of them realizes he could climb to the tallest tree, see the jungle from a higher perspective, and probably find the way home. Said and done, he climbs the tallest tree and he finds the way home, a small town in the north. The difference between purpose and productivity is clearly seen in the story I've just told. You can be as productive as you want, but unless you start with an end in mind, any action you perform will lack true efficiency. So the big idea here is forget about productivity, find your purpose first. When we don't consciously decide the purpose of our actions, we are like the guys in the jungle. We are like boats with no specific destination. When we don't know where we want to be or who we want to become, anything is good enough and we end up getting what falls over our laps, which is usually mediocre. A boat which is driven by any winds it encounters will probably not help him get to the beautiful beaches of Hawaii, for example. Although it may not appear at first, when we start with a why or a purpose, actions are much more effective in the long run. The moment we forget to consciously state our purpose is the moment we stop controlling the circumstances and let them control us. We stop being in control of our destiny and start being at the demands of nature. A businessman that didn't clearly define the purpose of his business will undertake any endeavor that brings in more money. Not being able to master a specific subject, in the long run, he will lose competitiveness and go bankrupt in a couple of months or years if he's lucky. An overweight person desires to lose weight quickly, without having clear why she actually wants to. Unconsciously, she wants to lose weight to look prettier and have her friends like her more. With time, she begins a weird diet which made her lose weight and become skinnier. After a couple of months though, the food she chooses ends up causing her health issues. This could have been easily avoided by realizing that what she really wanted was to be healthy and feel good in her own body. Her choices would have been radically different from the get-go, only because she had a clear and conscious purpose in mind. We get into relationships without asking why we're honestly getting into one. It is because we desire intimacy and we want to share our journey with our person, or is it because we're trying to fulfill an emotional deficiency we have inside of us? That's a really good question that almost nobody asks when they are starting a romantic relationship, and it's very difficult too. And that is one of the main reasons why we see so many failed marriages and relationships. Let's see business. Look at Samsung and Apple. Why Apple always focused on their purpose, which was clearly represented on their slogan, Think Differently, Samsung's main concern was selling more phones, without a clear why on their minds or their marketing. The results are evident. Apple has a massive fan base that not for a moment think about changing their Macs and iPhones. Who doesn't know of Apple fanboy? And then we have Samsung consumers that wouldn't doubt to turn their phones down for a better one in a different brand. Can you see how many endeavors we end up undertaking without actually questioning their motives or purpose? From business to our personal lives? Truly productive people, businesses, and relationships start with a purpose in mind in every situation. If we don't know what we actually want to accomplish, we will probably find ourselves somewhere we didn't want to be. The moment a person forgets about the purpose of their actions and instead focus on being the most productive, an essential component is lost. Now that we probably understood the consequences of not starting with a purpose in mind, the question now becomes how to choose a healthy purpose. Not every purpose is equally productive and healthy. Some of them conspire against our well-being and happiness, while others will foster a joyful experience of life, relationships, and business. These are some principles we should consider when crafting our purpose, whether it's in life or any other endeavor. First one is honesty. Being honest with ourselves when consciously choosing a purpose is very, very important. We may lie to ourselves about why we're actually doing something when in reality we're doing it for an entirely different reason. So, be honest with yourself. The second one is beneficial in the long term. Regardless the purpose we choose, we need to discern if the purpose we wish will be helpful in the long term and will help us achieve the ultimate goal of living a happy, prosperous, and joyful life. If it generates results only in the short term with high chances of producing secondary effects in the future, probably is not a strong purpose. So, for example, a weightlifter that is injecting anabolics day after day will suffer the consequences of his actions, even though he was achieving the results he was looking for the short term, which was be super jacked. The third one is bigger than you. A consciously chosen purpose should not be only concerned with your own well-being. Since we're part of a community, of a system that's larger than us, a culture, we need to take into consideration other beings, our communities, and the whole planet as a whole. If we have a drug dealing business and my purpose is to provide drugs to everybody with the objective of making them happier, maybe I should reconsider my purpose and my definition of happiness. Or if I'm an oil company, a CEO oil company, and my purpose is to make the company grow and make more money, perhaps if I start considering the effects that my actions are producing in the environment, I might have to reconsider my purpose and why am I doing what I'm doing. Am I doing it because I care about the whole planet, or am I doing just for myself and my own well-being and financial well-being? The fourth component is empowering. The purpose we choose should motivate us and inspire us. It should make us want to grow better than the day before, challenging us to improve, provoking us to go out of our comfort zone and raise the bar a little bit higher every day. The fifth one is in our control, and this is key. Any purpose we choose should be 100% under control. On the contrary, if we craft one that is outside of our volition, we might as well end up disappointed and hurt. So for example, you began a romantic relationship with a person, you have a new boyfriend or girlfriend, and you decide that your purpose is to develop a loving relationship. It sounds like a very good purpose, right? But there's a catch. Notice that for a romantic relationship to flourish, both parties need to contribute. Unfortunately, we cannot control what other people do, feel, or think. What we can control though is the ability to act lovingly ourselves. A better purpose might be supportive and loving with my partner, helping her or him grow. See, now the ball is in our court. We decide if we want to be loving and we don't depend for other person's actions to complete our purpose. To put it simply, any purpose we choose should contribute to our own well-being in the future, even though that may mean it will be painful in the short term. Clearly, if your purpose is to be healthy, you will need to start eating lettuce and tomatoes and all that good stuff. We would prefer the cheeseburger, but now our actions are dictated by a purpose that it may say is more significant and bigger than us. Now that we've chosen our purpose, it's time to get our hands dirty and start working towards it. So, how to be truly productive? Writing down your purpose is the easiest part of the whole process. Now it's time to do the actual work, which is the most difficult part. Despite the fact that our purpose is clear for us, unfortunately it's not for everyone else. The worst part is that we would look stupid if we carried our purposes written over our heads, indicating people what we are actually trying to accomplish or achieve. Naturally, people have different agendas than ours, events are impersonal, Mother Nature doesn't care what you're doing, and some things are just outside of our control. Furthermore, we might have a big purpose or goal that's so big, so grandiose that will take years or decades to accomplish. Imagine that you decide your purpose will be to become the best guitar player of all times, like John Petrucci if you like rock. Now what? You're going to be so overwhelmed you will not know where to begin with in the first place. There is a technique featured in the book The One Thing called goal setting to the now that's super useful in these cases. Let's say that our goal is to become very fit and healthy. We check this through the principles and it passes the test. It's honest, it's under our control, it's empowering, and it doesn't hurt anyone in the process. Now we need to discover which ways are going to be the most productive for us to become very fit and healthy. Therefore, this first step is obviously research. Once we have done our research and find out the best and sustainable way in which we can become fit and healthy, it's time for us to construct a long-term plan to achieve the objective. Logically, the process is a hard and long one. Hence, we should think 2 years ahead at least. If we know that in 2 years we want to become healthy and fit, which is in our case means to weigh 170 pounds and have 12% body fat, if that's our objective, the 1 year milestone should be to weigh around 185 pounds and have 16% body fat. The 6-month milestone is to weigh 200 pounds and have 20% body fat. We must build achievable and measurable goals that will inform us what we should be doing today. Assuming we want to weigh 170 pounds and have 12% body fat in 2 years. You must build a series of dominoes that start from day 1 and end up in 2 years. Each action you make informs and contributes to the accomplishment of the goal in 2 years or in 5 years. That's being productive. Note that we could have never gotten to this level of analysis if you haven't started with purpose. Purpose precedes productivity. It's its origin. Once you understand the principle that purpose precedes productivity, you can apply this to everything you think about, from business to health, to running a fucking marathon, to being the best salesman, to being the best writer, to getting enlightened. The possibilities are endless. Here are some of the techniques that will help you in your journey. After picking your purpose and deciding which technique or method is going to render it more productive, it's time to get practical. As we realized before, people and events are going to get in the way just because they have an entirely different agenda. Here are some of the techniques we might find useful. First one is meditation. As I mentioned in my previous videos, meditation is a handy tool to improve concentration and extend our focus for long periods of time. If we intend to start a business, extended periods of whole focus will generate the outcomes we are striving for. The second one is block chunks of time. Just like when you have dates or have a soccer match, we should block that period of time to centralize in our chosen purpose. The next one is eat healthy and do exercise. Maintaining an active lifestyle will give us more energy to carry through the day and commit to the activities we previously established. If we already decided to lift weights on Monday evenings, we will have to do it even though we're tired. Why not avoid the tiredness altogether? In my personal life, I have to be very careful about what I eat and drink, since an unhealthy meal may drain my energy. I need to fill my videos, read or work. Once we have a purpose, everything is molded around it. Now, the question is what it would take to accomplish a purpose. Regardless of the purpose you choose, it will not be easy. Anything that isn't going to fall into your lap will require a particular discipline, commitment and study. When we wonder about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, or Jordan Peterson and his success, Stephen Curry and his amazing shots, and Stephen King and his unparalleled creativity, each and every one of them chose a purpose and sacrificed the calmness of their comfort zone to achieve them. Each and everyone who succeeded at something in the long term had to give something back, whether we want to admit this or not. Nothing in life is free. Nothing comes handy, and everything worth pursuing will require an effort we're probably not ready to sustain. But you know what? We do it anyways. Why? Because we believe in our purpose. Because we believe in ourselves and know from the bottom of our hearts we will accomplish what we set up to do for ourselves. Because deep down inside of us, we're aware of our greatness, of our ability to change the world. It may consume us, it may take everything we got, but as the saying goes, we've got everything it takes. So decide what your purpose is in any activity you wish to undertake, do the research, be truly productive, and go do it. At Inerize, we believe in you. This is why we're providing the platform for you to undertake the education you deserve. Stick with us, subscribe to this channel, go to our page, subscribe to the newsletter, and see your life, your surroundings, and the world change little by little. Thanks guys, this is Juan Cruz. Go do it.